Hi everybody, this is Bonnie Barker with Bonnie Bay Crochet, and today I want to show you how to make the Aegean Waves Stole. I'll have the dimensions for this in the video description below, and this can be made to be worn as a super scarf, as a stole. The mohair silk yarn is very surprisingly warm, and it makes for a great little stole that you can ball up and stick into your bag for those summer months when the indoor weather can be very chilly due to the air conditioning and everything. But this can be worn really all year round. Feel free, however, to substitute any fiber that you wish. For this particular project, I used 3 different colors, but you can also use just yarn from your stash and make this any size you wish. And don't forget to stay tuned to the end of this video where I will show you the importance and how-tos of blocking a garment to get the maximum stitch definition. All right, let me go ahead and show you what I used. For this project, I'm going to be using Essentials. This is a Rico Design yarn. This is Super Kid Mohair and Silk, 70% mohair, 30% silk. Each of these balls is 25 grams or approximately 200 meters. And let me go ahead and give you the colors on this. This is 001. And the other colors I will be using, this is 006. And the dark aqua is 016. Okay, so 016 and that's 006 should you be interested in obtaining the same color yarn that I'll be using. And I'm also recommending that you have a size H or 8 or 5.00 millimeter crochet hook. And as always, I recommend that you have a pair of sharp scissors and a yarn needle handy. To begin, we're going to start with a slip knot, and we are going to use a starting chain of 86. We're ready to start row 1, which starts in the 8th chain from the hook, which is right here. So if you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chains, we are going to work a single crochet in that chain. And then this is the repeat across the row. We're going to chain 5, skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and single crochet in that next chain. Chain 5, skip 3, and single crochet in that next chain. Chain 5, skip 3, and single crochet in that next chain. So go ahead and work this all the way across the row. You should have a total of 20 loops before you work the last stitch. And to end this row, we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to work a double crochet in that last chain. We'll skip the next chain and work a double crochet in that last chain. All right, so now it's time to turn and to work row 2. For row 2, we are going to chain 1. We're going to single crochet in the top of that double crochet just worked. And then we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are going to skip to the next loop. And we're going to work a single crochet just in that space. You don't have to work it in a specific chain, just in the space in general. After we do that, we're going to work 7 double crochets in the next loop, and be very careful that you count that you have 7 double crochets, because the rows that follow will depend upon this. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See if I can get it to go through the loops. And 7. And I'm going to double check just to make sure that I have 7 double crochets. And do be careful, this chain portion can trick the eye and look like a stitch. That is not a double crochet, that is a chain. So the double crochets count from up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now we're good to go to move on to the next loop. The next loop, we're going to work a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 5. And we're going to single crochet in the next loop. And we're going to do that one more time. Chain 5. And then single crochet in the next loop. And that's going to be your repeat all the way across the row. I'll work it with you one more time. One thing I want to be mindful of is to not accidentally get this twisted in any way and accidentally work in the foundation chain again. It'd be very easy to do this. So just be mindful that that is always a possibility lurking to trip you up. So once we get several rows completed, then it'll be very clear what is the next row. But in the early stages, that can often be tricky. Okay, so the repeat again is 7 double crochets in the next loop. That's 4, 5, 6, and 7. And just to be safe, I am going to count, not looking at the post, but looking at the loops up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Remember, you don't want to accidentally count the chain as a stitch. It looks very similar. And then in the next loop, we're going to work a single crochet, and we're going to chain 5. Single crochet in that next space, chain 5 again, and single crochet in that next loop. I said space before, space, loop, either way. So that's what we are going to work. So let's go ahead and work that repeat all the way across the row, and I'll show you how the row ends. After working this across the row, you should have 5 clusters with the 7 double crochets. Okay, now this row ends after working that last cluster of 7 double crochets. We work a single crochet in the next loop, chain 5, and we're going to work a single crochet in the very last loop, which was part of that starting chain. Okay, so go ahead and check, and also just be sure, again, make sure that you have kept the correct side up and didn't work accidentally in that foundation chain. To begin row 3, we're going to chain 5, and we're going to single crochet in the first loop. And again, make sure that you have the correct side up. After we do that, we are going to work a double crochet in the top of the next double crochet, chain 1, and that's going to be the repeat 7 times, or repeat it 6 times. So we're just working a double crochet in each stitch with a chain 1 in between. And this is where I said it's important that you have the correct number of stitches. Okay, and that last stitch that we work, we do not chain at the end of that. Okay. After we work that, we're going to single crochet in the next loop, chain 5, single crochet in the next loop, and that is going to be a repeat. Now it's time for us to work those double crochets again. Double crochet in the next double crochet and chain 1, and do that in each of the double crochets from the previous row. Pull through all the loops. There we go. And that last one, that last double crochet, we work only a double crochet, no chain 1 space, and then single crochet in the next loop, the next chain 5 loop, chain 5, and single crochet in that next chain 5 loop, and it begins all over again. So let's go ahead and take a look at the repeat. And that is going to be your repeat all the way across, and I will show you how the row ends. At the end of row 3, we're going to chain 2, and we're going to work a double crochet worked in the top of that single crochet that was worked at the beginning of the row, the beginning of the previous row. And this is what we have. To begin row 4, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to single crochet in the top of that first double crochet of the previous row. We're going to chain 1, and now we're going to work in the chain 1 spaces that are in between the double crochets from the previous row, and this is what we're going to work. We're going to work a half double crochet puff stitch like this. We're going to wrap the hook, insert, pull up a loop. We're going to do that 3 times. That's 2, and that's 3. Yarn over, pull through all the loops on the hook, and give it a chain. After we work that puff stitch, we chain 2, and then we work another one in between the next 2 double crochets, which is also in that chain 1 space. Three times, yarn over, pull through all the loops on the hook, and then chain 2. Let's do that again. Wrap the hook, insert, pull up a loop, and do that a second time and a third time. So you have a total of 7 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all the loops, chain 2. Yarn over, pull through all loops on the hook, chain 2. So we're going to do that in between each of these double crochets. Now the last one is going to be worked right here. Remember, this is a chain and that's the double crochet, so we're only going to be working 6 of these puff stitches. Okay, so let's stop and take a look at that. After working that 6th puff stitch and the chain 1, we're going to skip to the next loop, and we're going to work a single crochet just like that, and that's going to be our repeat all the way across. We're going to chain 1 and working again in between these double crochets. We're going to work that half double crochet puff stitch, and then chain 2. And we just continue until we have 6 puff stitches total. and chaining 2 in between. Let's see, we have 4, so we have 2 more to work on this set. Again, 7 loops on that hook, pull through, chain 2, and this is the last puff stitch. So we're going to, for this particular fan, or fan shell, or shell fan. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just chain 1 after that one, and then skip to the next loop, work a single crochet, chain 1, and then the repeat begins again. So go ahead and work across those remaining fans, and I'll show you how the row ends. This row ends with a chain 1, and then we're going to work a single crochet in that final loop. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we should have at this point. And I really hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. Okay, again, we're still working over those 5 fans. Now we're going to return to what we started, which is going to be very similar to row 1, but it's going to be working in the spaces in a different way, obviously, because we're not working with the foundation chain. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin this. This is row number 5. Now let me say going forward that we're going to be basically repeating this. So if you want to do a different color changing sequence than what I am doing, you would be changing that sequence on row 5. Okay, so I'm going to maintain the same color for one more repeat, and then I will change the color. But once you see the next row, then you will pretty much have all the crochet instruction you need for this established pattern. So now to begin row 5, we're going to chain 5, and we're going to work a single crochet in between the first 2 puffs, chain 5, and then we're going to single crochet in between the next 2 puffs, chain 5, and now this is where it is a little bit different. We're going to skip this puff, and then work in the next space like that. Chain 5 and single crochet in the next loop, or chain 1 space I should say. Okay, so let's go ahead and pause and see what we've done so far. This is where we started with our first chain 5, single crochet in that chain 2 space between the first 2 puffs, chain 5, single crochet in between the next 2 puffs, chain 5, skip the next space or the chain 2 space, and then single crochet in the next chain 2 space, chain 5, and single crochet in that next chain space. So this one might be a little bit tricky. We're going to chain 5 again, and we're going to skip the next 2 spaces, and we're going to work our next single crochet in between the next 2 puffs of the next fan. Okay, so that's kind of a large skip. So let's give you a good view of that. So you're skipping the next 2 spaces, which are chain 1 spaces, and then single crocheting in between the next 2 puffs, chain 5, single crochet in between in the next chain 2 space, chain 5, skip the next chain 2 space, and then single crochet in the next chain 2 space here, chain 5, single crochet in the next space, and then after this is where we also make another large skip. So this is
at the repeat now. So we're going to chain 5, and just like we did before, skip the next 2 spaces, and then in the next space in between those chain 2 spaces between the first 2 puffs of the next fan, we single crochet, and then again chain 5, single crochet in that next space, chain 5, skip the next space, and then work in the next. So essentially the top or the center of the fan is where you're going to skip. So I just want you to get a good view of how that looks. So go ahead and work that all the way across. As you can see, the spaces in between the fans are when you skip 2 spaces. Okay. So go ahead and finish that row. At the end of row 5, and that's where you've worked that last single crochet in between those last 2 puff stitches, we're going to chain 2, and we're going to work a double crochet worked in that last stitch. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we should have here. This is really fun. All right, so now we're going on to row 6, which is actually an exact repeat of row number 2, which is the row right down here where we worked the double crochets. I'm going to go ahead and start this row with you, but if you would like, you can also just repeat, look back at row number 2, and I'll put a little time mark right across the bottom. So if you wanted to have additional stitch support as you work rows 2 through 5 on these repeats. And like I said before, I know I'm repeating myself, if you're wanting to change to different colors, please consider doing that on a repeat of row number 5. And that's what I'm going to be doing. So just to get you started on row 6, which again is a repeat of row 5, we're going to chain 1, single crochet in that first stitch. After that, we're going to chain 5, single crochet that next loop, and then after that we are back to working the 7 double crochets. And just to be sure, let's double check to make sure that we have 7, and we do. And then single crochet in that next space, chain 5, single crochet in the next space, chain 5, single crochet in that next space, just like we did in row number 2. And then again, chain, actually we don't chain, we go right into the 7 double crochets again. Okay, and then we want to verify that we have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we do. So let's go ahead and take a look. And that is going to be your repeat all the way across. So go ahead and you can finish row 6 the same way that we finished row number 2. So just to repeat myself once again, this pattern repeats by repeating rows 2, 3, 4, and 5 over and over again. Okay, this is the starting end of the stole, and as you see, we have 4 sets of the repeats of the motif at the beginning, but the side is straight. So what we're going to do is we're going to work the last 3 rows, which would be the row that starts with those 7 double crochets in that section, which we're going to work right here. We're going to work that row, this row, and then the row with the puff stitch, and then we will fasten off. So let me go ahead and grab my hook, and I'll get you started on working those 3 rows on the foundation chain edge. So the first thing we're going to do is rejoin our yarn to that very first opening, or the corner. And just to let you know, I have the front side of this row facing me. Honestly, it really doesn't matter. But if you want to be a purist and you can follow with what I'm doing, just make sure that the front side of this grouping of 7 double crochets is facing you. All right, so I'm going to join. So after that first chain, let's go ahead and join with a single crochet. And then chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in the next space, which is right here, we're going to work a single crochet. Now we are going to work 7 double crochets in this space. It's going to be opposite where the other 7 stitches were worked. Okay, that should be number 7. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. All right, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to single crochet in that next space, chain 5, and single crochet in the next space. We're going to do that again, chain 5, single crochet in the next space, and again this is along the foundation chain. Okay, in the next space we're going to work 7 double crochets. And this is going to be your repeat, so I will get you to the next space. Okay, we're going to single crochet that next space, and then chain 5 again, single crochet in that next space, chain 5 again, and single crochet in that next space, and that's going to bring you to the 7 double crochets in the next space. So go ahead and repeat that across the row, and I'll show you how this row ends. After working those 7 stitches, we work 5 chains and go ahead and single crochet in that space, just like that. Now the next 2 rows will be worked the same as we've been working all along in this stole. So if you need, you can look at the bottom of the screen and I'll show you those numbers, and you can just go ahead and repeat those.
Now I want to touch base on these threads that we just joined together lightly. I'm going to go ahead and pull these apart. Remember now, I recommended that you not tie these colors together in a knot, because I think it would be more difficult to hide. Okay, so we want to be very careful how we do this, because we obviously don't want our crochet to become undone. But I just wanted to show you how well these can be hidden. And trust me, with all the little extra feelers here, these fibers on this yarn, once you hide these, and especially if you block it, which I highly recommend, I'm going to show you that to you in just a bit, these threads aren't going to go anywhere. In fact, sometimes it's just hard to separate them when they're just side by side. So I'm going to bring this light color yarn. There are a number of ways you can do this, but I'm just bringing it down into the work, and it will not be seen
Because again, the more you wear this, the more the fibers are going to rub together and will become entwined with each other. I mean, more so with the mohair than regular yarn, especially yarn that's been twisted together in multiple plies. So I'm gonna just do this much with this thread. Make sure you do not pull it tightly. Give your pull back there, and then I'm going to clip it very close, and that is hidden. That's not going to go anywhere. So let's go ahead and deal with the contrasting color here, the dark color. It's really important that you hide these strands within their own color, because they will show quite a bit if you don't. So I'm going to bring this up, just weave it gently back through that chain. Again, I'm not pulling this real tight, just nice and relaxed. And let's go ahead and weave it down into some of these. Are really okay, and then maybe back. I'm going to go back up into this chain. And what I'm really shooting for is I'm going to try to hide it under some of these extra threads. Right under here, under these double crochets. And you can just see how that looks, and I think that's going to be well hidden. And go ahead and trim again, close, but not so close that you cut other stitches. So I just wanted to show you that is where the two yarns were joined, and honestly, nobody is ever going to know where they were joined. So I have quite a few of these to finish out. So I'm going to go ahead and finish these out, and then I'm going to show you just a quick tutorial on how to wet block. I have these affixed using these blocking combs. This is a small one, and as you can see, the other ones here are much larger. And I really do like this particular blocking map. It's self-healing, which means that when you stick a pin in and you take it out, it does kind of fill in over time. And it has a nice grid that I can line my work up a lot better than I can if just trying to do it by eye. All right, so once we get this laid out to the size that we want, we're going to get some water, and I'm going to lightly spritz it. Okay, so I just have a water container that has only had water in it, and I'm just going to lightly spray the entire piece so that it is damp. And then I'm going to let it dry overnight and sit until it is perfectly dry. And do make sure that the surface is damp as you do this. You don't have to have it, flooded in water, but it needs to be damp. And you may not believe me at this moment, but if you have ever tried blocking mohair, it does miracles. It will give such amazing definition that even when you ball it up after you've blocked it and you put it in your purse and then you take it out and wear it, it will retain its shape so much better than if you don't block it. So I definitely highly recommend that you take the time to do this while you can. Well, I hope you enjoyed making the Aegean Waves stole with me today. If you did, I would love to hear from you. Please feel free to comment below in the comment section. God bless. Bye-bye.